Our next presenter is Ivan Young from Atypon.
Hi, my name is Ivan Young, and I work for Atypon. Atypon produces Literatum, an online publishing platform that gives scholarly publishers complete control of their websites, with easy-to-use tools for delivering, marketing, and selling their publications. Passport Analytics is Literatum's new analytics tool for scholarly publishers. If you've used third-party systems before, you know how difficult it can be to make a simple reporting change, like adding a new field or a new report. With the easy-to-use drag-and-drop interface of Passport Analytics, publishers can now have complete control over the entire reporting process with access to the most granular level of detail. So, Passport Analytics tears down the barriers between publishers and the data they can use to improve the success of their business strategies. I'll give you an example. Let's say in a recent month you experienced a spike in downloads and you wanted to identify the cause. Now, it's just a fact of our time. The first question we'd have to ask is this a result of fraud? We can drag in from our available field list for this data set response code and date. And here we can see the daily trend of both downloads and denials in one chart. And we can see, yes, there's a spike in downloads at the bottom, and at the top, there's a spike in denials as well. And this is not typically a pattern associated with fraud. Also, we can drag and drop country and IP address into this report and look at the spike in IP addresses, which are occurring in two countries that aren't normally associated with fraud, Canada and the US. So given that this is probably not fraud, we can turn to the next question, which is, what kind of content were they looking at? We can drag and drop series title in, and we can see that the spike primarily occurred with the Canadian Journal for Women in the Law. We can also drag and drop item title in and see that it was primarily one article that they were downloading, an article on sexual assault law. And then we can step back and zoom out and look at the total downloads for the day and see that the downloads for this particular article took up about 40% of the article downloads for the day. So the next two questions we might ask are, who were doing the downloading and why were they downloading? First thing I'd look at is the publication date, because if it was a more recently published article, you might expect that there was a lot of new traffic looking at it. But if I drag and drop online publication date into this report, I can see that it's an old article published in 2010. So something was bringing these people back to this old article. Another thing I might want to know is whether or not this was institutional or non-institutional traffic. And by dragging and dropping institution name and then grouping by whether or not there was an institution name present at the time in the session, we can see from the pie chart here that most of the downloads happened from non-institutional users. We can apply the same function to the session referrer field to split the downloads between those that came from traffic that clicked in from another source or those that didn't. And we can see here that both types of traffic generated more downloads on that day. And it's particularly interesting that that downloads from people who clicked in from another source increased. And if we change the way that session referrer is appearing on the report, if you had binoculars, you could see that the first two take up the bulk of the downloads, and that's traffic from Facebook. So all of these things might point to the fact that point to a theory that something went wild in social media, got shared, and drove traffic to this article. Now, this sounds marketing related, so I might share this from within Passport Analytics with someone in the marketing department who could then open the report and then manipulate and filter and drag and drop as they want, depending on if they had rights. And then if we look back in time at this period of time, we could see that something definitely did happen. This sexual assault trial had started at that time and drove a lot of social media buzz and traffic back to the site with Facebook posts. Thanks. So here we were looking at historical data, 3 months old, but imagine what we could do if we were looking at near real-time data. That would enable a more responsive content bundling and more relevant offers to the readers. And I'm just scratching the surface here, really, of Passport Analytics. With Passport Analytics, not only can you slice and dice and create reports and then share them out to individuals who you work with or institutions who are your customers or other people, you would also have control over what kind of data is even available for reporting. For example, we're feeding in literatum data, but you can feed in data from your CRM systems like Salesforce or subscription management systems and join that data together and to get cost per download, or pull in properties from your other systems and add them to your own reports and then share those reports out. All of these things enable faster and better decision making that should expand readership and increase revenue. Thank you for your time. If you have questions, please see me afterwards or come to booth 109A.